Hello everyone, I'm Rayleigh, and this is The Mysterious Thief Forget-Me-Not. So this game was a part of the Fall in Love Visual Novel Fest, but, you know, I'm just now playing it, sorry. But I'm looking forward to it. I love Phantom Thief stuff. Even before Persona, so don't come at me. Wilkinson Museum of Art and History, May 5th, 12:55 a.m. This is TTV News, coming at you live for Forget-Me-Not's latest heist. The infamous Phantom Thief's target this time is the Sunrise Glow, one of Europe's largest topazes. Forget-Me-Not, I love you. Forget-Me-Not. The museum owner and curator, Sir Wilkinson, received a calling card from the aforementioned thief just a few days prior. At 1 a.m. on the 5th, I will shine down upon the sunrise glow, is what was written on the card. I'll keep you updated until the time mentioned, sending it back to the studio for now. As the feed switches back to the main station, I turn off my phone and look down at the ever-growing crowd at the foot of the museum. What a crowd! Those newscasters always do such a good job talking up these heists. Just the way I like it. The walkie at my hip beeps while I'm lost in thought, bringing my attention back to answer the call from the other end. How's everything looking down there? Breaker's been prepped. The jewel's been double-checked. Everything as smooth as can be, kid. Perfect. Good work. This is gonna be great. Don't get too cocky now. No worries. I'm just ready to have some fun. Everyone, listen up! Our conversation is interrupted by the very loud and just as commanding voice of the detective below in the gallery. Speaking of fun... We've only got a few minutes left before that damn thief attempts to steal the jewel. Station yourselves at every possible entrance they could even think of using, and notify me of anything suspicious. Do I make myself clear? Yes, sir! On cue, after the detective's little pep talk, the officers spread themselves out around the vicinity, hoping to cover every entrance and exit they can with their numbers. Someone seems motivated tonight. I'm in position. Ready to go when you are, kid. Alright, wait for my signal. Got it. I look back out to the crowd, banners, flags, and posters in hand, starting to count down to the hour. 10, 9. With a little stretch, I hop on over into position. I guess that's my cue. Let's give these people the show they're looking for. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. In the sudden darkness, the officers stationed inside the exhibit share worried looks and whispers with any neighbors they can see. Everyone, stay calm. This is just one of their tricks. With an annoyed look on their face, the detective pulls out their radio in one hand, while the other pulls out a flashlight to see around them. What's the situation in the breaker room? Sir, the breaker's been tampered with. It doesn't look like we can get it up on our own. There's probably a remote switch connected to it that the thief's using. That damned... I want that breaker up and running immediately. Forget-Me-Not could be here. Any minute, right, Detective? My apologies for the late start of tonight's show, ladies and gentlemen. They're here! Forget-Me-Not! Letting out their pent-up anticipation, the crowd goes absolutely wild over my entrance. The vigor and enthusiasm of the crowd outside is a stark contrast to the mood of those inside the museum, as the detective and their men surround me.
Forget-me-not. We've got you surrounded. Give yourself up.
Good evening to you, Detective O'Malley. So overjoyed by my presence as always, I see.
And you're as cocky as ever. Even you must realize that you have nowhere left to run in this situation. My officers have the breaker room secured after your little stunt just now. You won't be able to use your veil of darkness to escape like in the past, thief.
Leaning against the display case, I give Detective O'Malley a playful smirk and chuckle.
And what's so funny this time?
You just seem so sure of yourself, Detective. You won't be able to use your veil of darkness. How long did it take you to come up with that little quip?
You hardly have a leg to stand on here, magician wannabe.
True. But who's to say that darkness is the only way to make an escape? With a little tap on the glass, I turn my attention to my target before me. Isn't that right? Sunrise glow. Ah!
Quick, cover your eyes!
Once the harsh light fades, Detective O'Malley and their men slowly open their eyes. Those that didn't make it in time start rubbing them to subdue the pain.
Is everyone all right?
I think so. My eyes. Sir, the jewel. I have taken the sunrise glow. Forget-me-not.
That damned forget-me-not.
Chapter 1, Desiree. Far away from the sounds of sirens and the cheering crowd, I finally make it back to the quiet little attic I call home. Good work tonight. Whomp. With a satisfied grin, I flop onto my bed, holding the jewel I won above me in the moonlight. Careful you don't smack yourself in the face with that thing, kid. You're saying that as if I'm the one with butterfingers. Smack. As if to spite me, the jewel falls out of my hand and hits me in the face, prompting a chuckle out of my partner. Ow. You were saying? Oh, shush. I suppose some introductions are in order. I'm Desiree LeChance, whom you've known as the fantastic Phantom Thief Forget-Me-Not up to this point. I've been doing these heists of mine for over 3 years, wowing the crowds and running circles around the cops who chase after me. Could we maybe not do a light show next time? I thought I was gonna go blind earlier. That's why I said not to look at the jewel, you dumb. You dumb. The snarky man before me is Sun Won Kim, though he goes by his thief name Crow most of the time. Oh, you can't trust a crow. Yep, you heard me right. He's also a thief, just not as eccentric as I am. He focuses on finding and revealing shady secrets about high-ranking officials or businessmen in the area. To me, however, he's my mentor, accomplice, and kinda adoptive uncle. It's a long story, so just take my word for it. But anyways, I have something to tell you. Huh? What is it? Well, you've been working so hard as of late, juggling these heists and civilian life and such. So I talked to a friend who owed me a favor to pull some strings. And got these! He reaches into his pants pocket and pulls out a pair of tickets. Handing me one, I could see the Pavlova Ballet Swan Lake written in ornate cursive font. Wait, aren't these for the ballet on Friday? You got that right. Figured you deserved a break, so how's about it, kid? That's awesome. Thanks so much. Anytime. Be sure to let Ramona know you're gonna take Friday off.
Why'd I nod off? Of course. Now off to bed you go. You can send back the jewel on your way to work in the morning.
Okay. Good night, Crow.
Night, Desiree.
The excitement of the heist must have drained all my energy, for as soon as I laid in bed, I instantly fell fast asleep. The next morning comes quickly and begins like any other. After going through my usual routine of making my bed, getting dressed, and packing my bag for work, I do a little stretch. Good morning, world, and all who inhabit it. Let's get today started. Tutorial. Occasionally during the story, you'll be able to explore the environment by clicking around. The cursor icon will change when you're hovering over something you can interact with. And if you've seen everything you can for certain clickable areas, then a check mark will appear over the mouse. You can also, in some places, click the left and right side of the screens to either pan the background or to move to a new location. Alright. Photo. In the midst of my before work prep, I shift my gaze to the writing desk next to my bedside, realizing I'd forgotten something. Picking up the photo that's sitting on it, I stare at it solemnly and whisper to myself. Hey Mama, hey Papa, getting to work now. Don't worry, I won't overdo it this time. I hope you two are doing alright. I miss you. Gently putting the photo back in its place and giving it a little pat, I focus on getting ready for work once more. Cactus. That's Charles Potley, our cactus. We call him Charlie for short. Crow originally didn't want any plants up here in the attic, as he was worried about bugs and such. But I turned him around after showing him how cute Charlie was. Though I did have to ban him for naming him after he first tried to name it Pestilence. Bed. Just double checking. Yep, bed made. I hate leaving my bed a mess after I wake up. It's just instinct at this point. If only I could wrestle Crow into following my habits every now and then. Every now and again. He did. Crow's still asleep, so I can't turn on the TV to check the news just yet. Why not? But right now, they're probably just talking about the weather report for the week. I can wait until I'm at work to tune in. Crow, wake up. Yeah, no, I'm not gonna even attempt to wake him up. The last time I tried to wake him up before noon, he gave me an hour-long lecture about it. At this point, I've just accepted that he's fused to his bed until the afternoon. There's no check mark. Nope, not doing it. Do it anyway. Don't really want to click on any doors yet. Even though we live up here, this is still an attic. We try to leave as much room for any boxes and such for the bar as we can if there's no space in the storage room, and even help organize it. Although Andre is really good at organizing things, so there aren't many boxes left over to begin with. Corkboard? Wonder what Andre put on the board today. Today's schedule, grocery shopping on Thursday. Oh, and a note. Please don't enter the attic through the window. You're lucky most of my patrons leave drunk. Sorry, Andre. Closet. The only place I could hide my outfit. I wanted it to be flashy, so I customized it myself with the fabric flowers. And some really devoted fans have tried making replicas of it, so I can take it with me when I'm doing laundry, no problem. Though I'm not sure how to feel about that, if I'm being honest. Okay, guess I'm going down now. I think I'm good to head down now. Wonder if Andre's done prepping for the day. Andre. After going downstairs, I'm greeted with the sight of the empty bar, tables, glasses, and the like cleaned to prepare for the day's patrons. The owner and bartender waves at me from behind the counter, setting down a glass he was wiping.
Good morning, Desiree.
Morning, Andre. This is Andre Daniels, the owner of the bar and restaurant we live on top of, the Gallant Rogue. He and Crow have known each other for years, and even before I joined the team, Crow was lodging in his attic, so he's used to this.
Let me know when you want something to eat before you head out, alright?
Will do. TV. I look up at the TV on the wall where they're talking about the local traffic. Movement in the lower stretches of the city has slowed due to a light altercation, but should clear within the next hour. They usually talk about my latest height later in the morning. Probably so all the people who came out to watch can get enough sleep in. Looming before me is the impressive collection of alcohol Andre keeps in the bar. Wines, vodkas, brandies. If he doesn't have it on the wall, he'll try to get his hands on it for the sake of it. And yet Crow won't let me have even a single sip of anything alcoholic. It's not fair. How am I supposed to know if I like it if he won't even let me try it? I'm 24, for God's sake. I can handle even a little bit. Girl, don't do it. In the evenings, the Gallant Rogue is the local bar most night owls flock to. But in the day, it's a casual restaurant that serves really good food and drinks at a decent price. Andre really prides himself in making all the food as amazing as possible, within reason, of course. Crow and I help him in the kitchen on busier days, to make sure he doesn't overwork himself. Crow may not look like it, but he's actually a pretty good cook. The meals I've tried have all been great. Though he and Andre have quite different heat tolerances. Back there is the bar's kitchen. It's pretty spacious, and Andre takes good care of it so it always looks really clean and neat. Though he's also very territorial about it, even with me and Crow when we help him out. Especially Crow. There's probably a story behind that. Go back upstairs. Why though? Maybe he'll tell me to wake Crow up or something. Pool cues. Andre's prized cues. He uses them whenever he plays a game with someone in the night. He told me they're hand-me-downs from his dad's side of the family, but he's taken such good care of them they look brand new. Photos. Scattered around the walls of the bar are photos of the highlights of Twin Bells. The Twin Bell Towers, the museum, the theater hall, all the things that bring people to visit this city of ours. There's also various memorabilia related to the famous thief that took the city by storm, the Scarlet Rose. Scarlet Rose was the Phantom Thief that came years before me, and is considered a part of our history now. He was a master of disguise, and quite the charmer from what I've heard. He retired before I was born. Andre told me that he named the bar in homage to them, but Crow likes to imagine that the moniker fits him too. Andre's the Scarlet Rose. Or maybe Crow. The Pride enjoyed the bar, other than the bar itself, of course. Andre has a special rule where if a customer beats him in a game of 8-ball, they get free drinks for the night. So far, no one's been able to beat him. The games have even gotten so popular that people come to the bar at night just to see them. I guess I'll eat now?
Ready for some breakfast, kiddo?
You bet.
What would you like me to make?
Eggs. Even though I hate eggs. Ooh, waffles. I'm in the mood for waffles today.
Sure thing. Tea as usual, I assume?
Of course. Any's fine.
I'll be right back then.
Andre grabs an apron and tightens it around his waist with a confident look as he walks into the kitchen behind him. Meanwhile, I stare at the TV hanging from the ceiling nearby as I seat myself on one of the stools by the counter. Twin Bells can expect about 5 millimeters of rain tomorrow night, but it'll quickly clear in the early morning as folks start their day. Rainy days always make heists hard to plan for, especially with how often our friendly detective chases me onto the rooftops. As the weather report wraps up, I can smell the wonderful aroma of my breakfast wafting from the kitchen, with Andre carrying it on cue.
Here you go.
I'm greeted by the sight of 2 large golden brown waffles sitting on the plate before me. Not only are they topped with powdered sugar and a variety of fruit, but sitting next to them is a perfect swirl of whipped cream. With a stuffy, fake accent, Andre sets down my breakfast.
Will you be taking that with or without chocolate today, miss?
Not today, good sir, not today. He will sure laugh as I start to carve my way into the food before me. Meanwhile, Andre pulls out a notebook and starts scribbling something in it. Making a list for the day?
That's right. I've got some shipments coming in to restock the freezer, so I need to make sure everything's accounted for. It works out well that they always show up after Crow finally wakes up.
That man would probably sleep for a week if he wasn't motivated by your cooking to wake up every day. I still cannot believe he used to have a 9-to-5 job.
I have some old pictures of him from then if you want to see.
No way. Did he wear a suit? Did he comb his hair?
Yep, and he looked like such a scrub.
That's amazing. You've gotta show me those pictures when you get the chance. After clearing my plate, I take one last sip of tea, getting up from my seat. Thanks again, Andre.
No problem, Desiree. Good luck at work today.
Thanks. You too.
Not headed out yet, kid?
I gave myself some extra time so I can hang out a bit longer if I want.
Good, good. It's always better to be early than to be right on time.
Must feel nice to have another morning person around, huh?
You have no idea.
Any reason to go back up? Probably not. No. Alright. After checking my belongings, I turn around to wave to Andre. Bye, Andre. Have a good day today.
You too, kid. See you later.
As I step out of the bar, I'm greeted by the sights and sounds of Sidewind Avenue in its morning routine. The shops opening their doors, people commuting to work, and the slow start of what is normally a bustling street. While I'm still here, I check my bag to make sure I have everything I need. Uniform, my lunch and phone. Yep, I've got everything. As much as I'd love to just chat the day away with Andre, I gotta head to work. That's the bar. Isn't it quaint? It's a pretty decent location that's not too central, but also not far from the major points of the city. Also helps that it stands out from all the buildings nearby, since they look so similar. From the street, I can see the window to the attic I was just in a moment ago. You'd think we'd be concerned since it faces the street, but unless we're right up against the window, no one can really look inside. Plus, Crow got blackout curtains for it, so that's an extra measure against anyone gawking from the street. The view isn't that good, though, but you gotta trade something for convenience, I guess. As I walk by the TV store, I overhear a couple of ladies chatting to each other while watching the news. Did you go to Forget-Me-Not's heist last night? I did. It was fantastic as usual. Hey, Who do you think's cooler, Detective Aiden or the Phantom Thief? That's such a hard question. If I had to choose, though, I'd pick Forget-Me-Not. He's so dreamy.
Take that, Detective. Though maybe one day they'll get it right.
He's totally a man. I can tell.
That way goes to the south end of Sidewind. If you take about a 15-minute walk, you'll reach the business center of the city. But I don't need to go there. Work's up at the north end. As I walk by the local bakery, I'm greeted by a clerk sweeping near the door, waving at me with a big grin on their face. Good morning, Desiree. Morning. Getting everything ready for the day? Yep, we're just about done the early morning prep. Ah, speaking of, boss told me to give you something when you came by. One sec. They dug into the store for a quick bit before coming back out with a chew pastry? Yes, thank you. You're welcome. Boss said you love these things, so he made an extra batch in case you wanted one today. You can tell him that he can expect me to drop by for that batch after my shift, and that's a promise. The chuckle of the clerk gives me a nod, and then returns to the sweeping they were doing.
A shoe pastry, oh my gosh.
This way goes to the north end of the street, and that's where work is. I should get going so that I have more than enough time to prep once I get there. After a bit of walking, I make it to the north end of Sidewind Avenue. In that time, the city started to wake up a bit more as... In that time, the city started to wake up a bit more as people are beginning their regular work days around me. I'll soon join them as I finally see my destination right in front of me. The TARDIS. No. Back south? That goes back towards the bar in the south end. Although that's pretty obvious. I'm already near work though, and I have everything I need, so I don't need to go back. Go back anyway.
Ooh, a cat.
This little cutie's Marigold, the pseudo mascot of the flower shop. Miss Ramona found her hanging out behind the store a while back and has been taking care of her ever since. She named her Marigold because she's the same color as them. Upon seeing me get close to the store, little Marigold struts toward me and lets out a big meow for attention. Good morning to you too, sweetheart. How are you doing today? I lean down to give my furry friend a gentle scritch behind the ears, to which she practically pushes her head into my hand for. Gosh, you're so cute. I hope you have a good day today.
Miss Marigold.
I walk up to the mailbox nearby, and after quickly making sure no one's watching, put on my gloves and drop a bubble mailer inside. Almost forgot to give back my prize from last night. So long, little friend. Thanks for the fun last night. I close the lid to the mailbox after confirming the deed and hide my gloves back into my bag along with the rest of my belongings. I always make sure I send it using different mailboxes and to keep my fingerprints off of it. Standard stuff. Even the great Detective O'Malley shouldn't be able to find any clues with all this. Going further north from here goes right to the heart of the city. As you'd expect, there's a lot of tourist landmarks, such as our noteworthy twin bell towers. It can get pretty crowded in the warmer months where people are vacationing, so us locals hang out there in the off-season instead. Greeting me in this part of the street is Ramona's Flowers, the flower shop I work at. Its rustic aesthetic is a favorite sight of many, and it's the main shop a lot of locals go to for their floral and decorating needs. Miss Ramona's shop also offers flower telegrams, so we get a lot of business during Valentine's and other holidays. Alright.
And here we are. I double-check my belongings just in case before stepping up to the main entrance. Time to head inside. Hope Miss Ramona hasn't been too busy before I got here. I walk into the flower shop and I'm greeted by the pleasant, subtle smell of the flowers displayed around the store. Hyacinths, pansies, roses, tulips. The shop holds as many as it can handle and takes meticulous care of each and every one of them. Also greeting me as I walk in is the owner of this shop and my boss. Good morning, Dee. This is my boss, Miss Ramona Bernardi. She's a close friend of my mom's and a previous client of Crow's. From what I understood, she was having issues with a corrupt landlord in the area that was taking a toll on hers and other shops. So she hired Crow to step in, and now she and the other vendors in this area don't have to worry anymore. He helped me meet her so I could apply to work here. I've been working here for a few years now. Morning, Miss Ramona. Hope I didn't keep you waiting. Dee, please, you know you never do. I'm still taking care of things at the front, so take your time getting ready. Sure thing. Display. Sitting elegantly right in the middle of the store is Miss Ramona's flower display. A handsome variety of plant life is arranged in an appealing manner. Miss Ramona loves arranging the store, and especially this part. Part of the reason she opened a flower shop in the first place was because of all the flowers she could arrange. She says that the best way to keep people interested in the store is to switch out the plants with each season. Last summer, she got her hands on some really pretty bamboo and went all out when displaying it. Shame I couldn't get my hands on it before it flew off the shelves. It was so pretty. Window. The morning light shines brightly through the window, and through it I can see the building next door. The shop's not in the best location, but Miss Ramona is hoping to move it somewhere more open. She has her eye on a larger building a little bit north of here, and it's got a nice big window the plants can bask next to. With the business we've been getting, it shouldn't be long before she can snag it for herself. I walk up to Miss Ramona, who's scrolling through her phone behind the counter. What are you doing? Looking up what flowers I need to get for the shop. Mother's Day is coming up, so we're going to need a fair amount of carnations. Ah, right, those sell out so fast around this time of year. They sure do, don't they? Although the forget-me-nots a certain Thieves' fans buy have continued to buy our biggest hits. Am I ready to start work? I don't know, are you? Yes. Guess it's time to get started. A bit later... And now, on to our next story. Late last night, the infamous thief, Forget-Me-Not, fiendishly stole yet another priceless exhibit from the Twin Bells Museum. As the newscaster recounts my escapade from the other night, a huge smirk appears on my face while I work on my next bouquet order. The infamous thief fiendishly stole yet another priceless exhibit. They always give me such high praise. Be careful not to let your ego grow too much, otherwise your pretty little head will turn into a blimp. I turn to see Miss Ramona carrying 2 cups of tea from the back office. She sets one down next to me and takes a sip of her own as she sits across the table. Very funny. How in the world did you turn into such an attention seeker? Is it wrong to be proud of your accomplishments? Miss Ramona gives a little chuckle before taking a sip of her tea. Yep, you definitely take after your father more. What's that supposed to mean? Take it as you will. I set aside my current project to take a sip of tea, turning my attention back to the news report about my heist. It's been over 3 years since that thief first appeared in our city, and they've been putting on these shows of theirs many nights ever since. We're passing it off to a reporter on the field who's interviewing officers and persons involved in this incident. Thank you. I have Sir Wilkinson, the museum curator and owner, here with me in the museum lobby. If it's not too much trouble, sir, can you answer a few questions about last night?
Of course, it's no trouble at all.
Thank you, sir. Now, this thief has been going after your family's exhibits for years now. Yet, you seem to be quite chipper about it. Could you explain why?
The reason for it is quite simple. It's purely fun. I can tell from their heists that the rascally thief is doing this to entertain, and I must say that myself and many others certainly are entertained. It reminds me of years past with the Scarlet Rose. To live through this again has been one of the biggest joys of my old age. Besides, we Wilkinsons are not ones to get discouraged and give up so easily. Why, my son actually has an exhibit planned very soon that he's simply elated to announce.
This is the first we've heard of this. Any hints as to what the new exhibit is about?
My apologies, but that's about all I'm allowed to say. Otherwise, poor Max will be quite upset at me for stealing his spotlight.
Of course. Thank you for your time, Sir Wilkinson.
It was my pleasure.
As the interview wraps up, I stare at the screen deep in thought. A new exhibit, huh? Already getting ideas? Maybe. Besides, it's more fun to mess with Max since he gets so worked up about it. Unlike his dad, who always looks like he's having a ball when he's at a heist. Just make sure not to overwork yourself, alright? Of course. As I take another sip, I'm reminded of what Crow told me about last night. Oh, I almost forgot. Miss Ramona, I'm gonna need Friday off this week. How come? Crow landed tickets to that ballet that's coming to the city this Friday. Said he wanted to give me a chance to relax after all these heists. Oh, is that all? Of course you can have Friday off for that. Just make sure to finish all the bouquet and telegram orders we've gotten for this week. That ballet actually brought in more than what we usually get around this time. Do you think you can manage? Of course I can. I'll make sure these bouquets are perfect. Excellent. But it's impressive Crow managed to snag a couple of tickets, even with his connections. Is it really that popular? Apparently so. Every city that ballet's toured through has had its tickets sell out almost instantly. One of their selling points is that the dancers playing the lead roles are a couple themselves, so their scenes are extra romantic. Huh, I didn't know that. It must be quite the show to garner that much attention. I'm even more excited to go see it now. Amid my excited bubbliness, Ramona playfully pokes me in the face as she gets up from her seat. You can think about the ballet after you're done arranging these bouquets. Yes, boss. Ramona takes her empty cup and walks to the back office, leaving me alone in the back room. I put my own cup aside as I get back to work, with the TV still playing. While the police have expressed their disdain for the thief, many citizens have told our reporters that they continue to anticipate the thief's next heist. But how the public loves forget-me-not, one could say that we're living through another era like the Scarlet Roses. Hearing those words, I stare at one of the roses in the room fondly. Like the Scarlet Rose, huh? I'm still nowhere near their level, but it feels nice to hear people say I'm like them. Papa loves the Scarlet Rose. I wonder what he would say. Later that evening, after an admittedly long day, I return to the dimly lit bar, my bag on one shoulder and a box of choux pastries from next door under my other arm. Greeting me is Andre, walking back behind the counter after cleaning the main area a bit.
Welcome back, Desiree.
Thanks. Is Crow around? I brought some choux pastries from next door and wanted to share.
He left a couple hours ago. Said it was for a new job.
Another one already, huh? Did he say where or who?
Nope. Said he's keeping it on the download this time until he's done.
That's fair. Would you like first dibs on one of these, then?
Don't mind if I do, thank you.
I open the box in my arms and he gently pulls the pastry out, then grabs himself a small plate to not make a mess. I make myself a seat on one of the stools, putting the box next to me, and the two of us start chatting away. Got some downtime right now, huh?
Yep, the usuals won't start showing up for a little bit. How was work, by the way?
Pretty good. Pretty good. Miss Ramona and I had some extra time to chat about stuff despite all the work we had.
I should visit Ramona sometime. Been needing to get some new plants to decorate the bar with.
I'm sure she'd love to help you pick something out. Got anything specific in mind?
Not really. I'm just growing a little tired of that old cypress near the front door is all.
I think a monstera or yucca would fit well there. Miss Ramona has some in the store this month.
I'll have to go see what would work better then. Oh, by the way, Crow said he's buying dinner on the way back, so we don't need to cook anything.
Oh, okay. Any word on what specifically?
Nope. Although, knowing him, he'll want something hot.
That man sure loves his spice, huh? As Andre's finishing up his pastry, he looks at the clock hanging on the wall.
Do you mind helping me in the kitchen for a bit tonight? Some of my more rowdy regulars are gonna show up soon. I just want to make sure my part-timers don't get overwhelmed, you know?
Sure thing. Let me just go take my jacket off quickly.
Take your time. It won't get messy until they've had a few drinks.
As the last few patrons leave the bar, Andre locks the front door and flips the sign from open to closed. Meanwhile, I'm cleaning the last few tables for the night, pausing to let out a little yawn.
I can take care of the rest. You go on upstairs if you're feeling tired.
Are you sure?
No worries. There's not much left. Plus, I need to count the cash and whatnot.
Alright, I guess I'll go upstairs and wait for Crow to get back. Andre takes the bottle and cloth from me as I make my way towards the stairs, stretching a little from the work we just did. I swing open the door to the attic and grab the TV remote nearby, turning on the news as I flop onto the bed. And we've just learned that the sunrise glow, the jewel that Forget-Me-Not stole last night, has been returned safely to the police department. Officials are still trying to find out any info on the thief and their accomplices for a swift arrest. I roll over on the bed with a yawn as I pull out my phone, lazily scrolling through my calendar and social media feeds. Forget-Me-Not's trending again, though the ballet's in a really close second. Friday night I'll get to see what everyone's so excited about. The hype has to be for a reason, right? While I'm staring at my phone, I suddenly hear the sound of someone climbing up the stairs, and turn around to see Crow walking into the attic.
I'm back.
Welcome back. He puts the plastic bag he was carrying onto the desk, then takes a page from my book as he flops onto the bed. Long day?
Yep. You too?
Yep. It's so dark in here. Check what's in the bag. As I lay in bed, still scrolling through my phone, the delicious smells of what appear to be chicken and spice fill the air of the attic. That smells so good. What'd you get?
I was in the mood for curry, so I got a big portion so all three of us can eat as much as we want.
I eye him suspiciously upon hearing that, which prompts an exasperated sigh.
Don't worry, I brought mild. Didn't want you two to yell at me again because you're weak.
Crow, you only start to consider something as hot when it's at a 4 out of 5 on the scale.
Spice is good for you. You sweat more and drink more water.
Within reason. I stare at the TV on the other side of the room, but grow disinterested and roll over onto my side.
Mind if I change the channel?
Go ahead, I'm not even watching anymore. I then hear Crow's creaky bed as he gets up to grab the remote, changing it from the news to the game show channel. I roll over to see what's on right now. How does that guy already have so much banked?
Probably let hubris take control and try to roll as many double-ups as he could. I bet you it's gonna bite him in the ass in his next roll, though.
Just as Crow said, the guy takes another chance to make his score even higher, only to land on the big, fat bankrupt's face. Crow lets out a chuckle, seeing him clutching his head in disbelief.
What was he expecting? Who knows, but at least that was entertaining to watch.
I shake my head and roll onto my back, losing interest in the show as the commercial break starts up. I heard from Andre you got a new job.
Technically, yeah. My new client actually contacted me a while ago, but it was only tonight that I got all the fine print for what they want me to do. Can't tell you about it, though. This one's super hush-hush.
I know. Andre told me about that.
Good, good. I'll tell you all about it once I'm done, though, alright? I know you're always so curious about the jobs I get.
Hey, it's not every day you get to see a thief of justice in action.
And flattery will get you nowhere, kiddo.
Crow rolls around in his bed a little before hopping back onto his feet.
I'm gonna go take a shower and tell Andre we can start eating.
I'll just be up here until you're ready then.
Got it.
He takes off his jacket and chucks it onto his bed before walking around the corner into the hall. Meanwhile, I roll onto my back, feeling a little drowsy. A little nap before dinner wouldn't hurt. With a yawn, my eyes start to grow even heavier as I slowly but surely fall into an inevitable nap.
Forget me not.
Amid my sleeping, I find myself reliving an old memory of mine, a memory that decided the past few years of my life. I can see Crow and myself sitting up in the dark attic, illuminated by the moon and streetlights outside, as I unveil my grand idea.
Yeah, what do you think? I think it's a mouthful is what it is.
Ah, come on, be serious. I spent a lot of time thinking up this name.
Right, because it's your thief name.
A worried expression paints Crow's face as he folds his arms and leans back in his chair.
What's up? It's just, you know, I promised your dad I'd look after you until he and your mom are back in form, and I'm still coming to terms with whether I should let you do this. What would they say if they knew of this idea of yours?
I know, but... I set aside my notepad, cradling my knees as I look back at Crow. There was something about that incident the other night that just... I don't know, made me want to feel that thrill again. I've been cooped up in this attic for a while now, and that really helped me stretch my legs a bit more.
Yeah, I get ya. But you know becoming a phantom thief means you'll have a lot of close calls like that one. One wrong move and you'll be put behind bars, and I really don't want to see that happen. Do you think you can deal with that kind of stress?
I pause, taking time to think as hard as I can before I look at Crow with determination. Yes, I can. It'll be a bit scary, but I know my limits and want to give this a try. Besides, the Scarlet Rose managed to retire from being a thief. I can do that too, later when the thrill dies down. Crow blinks at me for a moment before letting out a small chuckle.
That's a weird kind of retirement to aim for, but I can't say you're wrong.
Crow pauses to think it over, then sits upright in his chair.
How's about this? I at least want you to agree that the minute it gets out of hand, you quit. Got it?
Got it.
I'm holding you to that, kid.
Crow uncrosses his arms and leans forward, his hands resting on his chin as a scheming look appears on his face.
So, Miss Upcoming Thief, you got your first target in mind?
You bet I do. Check out this article. As Crow and I start to form a plan for my first heist, I can feel this nostalgic dream fading away from me. I feel something nudging my shoulder, causing me to slowly wake up from my impromptu nap. I let out a small yawn to see Crow standing next to me.
Had a good nap, kid.
Sorry, Guess I was more tired than I thought. He lets out a small chuckle before ruffling my hair.
Don't worry about it. You had a busy week so far. Now come on, dinner's ready.
I get up from bed and do a little stretch before following Crow downstairs.
I had a feeling he was gonna get angry, but after seeing that clean sweep, he had his jaw on the floor. I love it when that happens.
In the moody, empty bar, I listen to Crow and Andre exchange stories for the night. Visitors during the day, something they remembered, they always go on like this together in the evenings. While I quietly enjoy my dinner, Andre sets his plate down momentarily.
I heard some interesting gossip tonight that might interest you two as well.
I don't even manage to get my spoon out of my mouth before my interest is piqued.
What kind of gossip this time?
You know how Maximilian has an exhibit of some sort planned? That I do. He wouldn't even let his dad say anything about it. Well, I had a theater employee pop in for a meal today, and they spilled a tidbit that it has something to do with the ballet. I can tell Crow's interest has been piqued, as right on cue he leans forward and folds his hands under his chin.
Really? I was wondering why the advertising for that was everywhere, but now it makes sense.
You think he invited the ballet to our city to take part in an exhibit?
That I do. Not to knock twin bills, but we're not as well known as the bigger cities. It just makes sense that being invited to take part in a rich, young museum co-owner's exhibit would entice them to visit.
As Crow takes another swig of his alcohol, I turn to Andre. Did that employee happen to say anything about the exhibit itself?
Unfortunately not. They said it's strictly confidential until he announces it himself.
Makes sense. Knowing him, though, he's gonna try and go for the dramatic approach. And the ballet is the perfect chance to announce an exhibit in such a way.
And it's probably gonna be opening night, too. There's gonna be a lot of press on Friday.
Now I'm even happier you got those tickets. Imagine what Maxie would think if he learned he announced his exhibit's Forget-Me-Not.
Didn't I get you those tickets so you could relax, miss, before dinner nap?
I sheepishly shove another spoon of curry into my mouth in response. Meanwhile, Andre, having already finished eating, gets up and takes his plate.
Anyone want seconds, or are we leaving the rest for leftovers? I'll take some more.
Continuing from where they left off, Andre and Crow talk each other's ears off to pass time for the rest of the night. We say our goodbyes to Andre as he heads back home, locking up the bar to get ready to pack it in for the evening.
I'm gonna stay up a while longer, but you're free to head to bed if you want.
As if on cue, a yawn escapes me with a giggle soon after. Guess I am kinda tired. I'll go tuck myself in then.
Alright then. Good night, kid.
Good night. I make my way up to the attic, change into my PJs, and tuck myself into bed, quickly falling asleep. Twin Bells Theater of Performing Arts, May 10th, 7:48 p.m. The night of the ballet is finally here, and as I enter the theater lobby, I find myself in awe at the turnout. Whoa, look at this crowd. I don't think I've ever seen the theater hall like this before.
What you expect from a company that's made a name for themselves across all of Western Europe.
What is that disguise? I hate it.
I'm glad I managed to snag those tickets with my friend's help.
Though now we get to see if the ballet really is as good as people are making it out to be. While Crow in disguise eyes other guests in our surroundings, I shoot a judging gaze at his outfit. Your outfit is still ridiculous. You look like a wannabe aesthetic blogger.
Very funny. Listen, I told you before that the only way I could come with you was if I wore this. So it's either you watch this ballet alone, or you deal with my getup for the next few hours.
You never said anything about not making fun of it, though.
Touché, you little brat. We still have some time before it starts, so let me know when you're ready to find our seats.
Sure thing. Even right before the show, people are lined up to try and see if there are any tickets left. Hoping for cancellations or maybe seat upgrades, these people patiently wait in line to try their luck for the night. Meanwhile, I notice the prices and squint at them. Are ballet tickets normally so pricey?
Yep, there's a special reason they sold so fast as well, see?
Crow points me towards one of the larger signs near the ticket booth that reads, Pavlova Ballet Company celebrates 40 years. Thank you to all who have been a part of our performances in the years past.
40 years, huh? That's quite a while.
Yep.
Apparently they had originally started in Russia, but moved out to accommodate their skilled dancers over here in Western Europe. I'd say it worked out for them pretty well.
That's pretty neat. Would you ever want to travel outside the country together? Maybe see some sights?
Not a bad plan. Although, are you saying that honestly, or just as a way to make you more popular?
Very funny. I look around the lobby again at all the different people that are there for the performance. The well-dressed ones here to make a statement. The more casually dressed folks that are just here to enjoy the show. I even spot some reporters sprinkled around to tell the city about what tonight had to offer. And of course, littered around the theater en masse, security. I wanted to do at least one heist here in the theater, but the amount of security they have here is nuts. Crow told me that he's only had a small handful of jobs related to the theater, and that they were all a hassle. One day, I'll live my dream of making a graceful entrance on the stage itself. One day. Scattered all around the lobby are posters, each with the same image printed advertising tonight's show. The Pavlova Ballet Company presents Swan Lake. It's simple enough to match the tone of the production, but still eye-catching enough to make you want to stop and stare. Crow walks over to eye it, then looks over at me.
How much do you know about the ballet?
All I really know is the basic story, but I've never seen the ballet itself. The lineup's pretty impressive, though. It was pretty hard to get that many people to our city.
Wait, what?
Crow pulls out the pamphlet about the ballet he brought with him and flips to the cast section, his face growing a bit paler after reading it. Did you think there was gonna be less?
Maybe.
It's a big ballet, though. How'd you not realize that? He shoves the pamphlet into my hands and pinches the bridge of his nose in frustration.
This job's gonna be harder than I thought.
Good luck?
What's up, kid?
Ready, what if I talk to you? Thank you again for the tickets. Though I never knew you were a ballet kind of guy.
Excuse you, I'm a connoisseur of the performance arts. But I'm also gathering some info.
Is it for that new job you got?
In a way, yeah. I'm using this show to get a first impression of what I'm supposed to be doing.
I imagine you're not gonna let me know the details until you're absolutely sure.
Correctamundo.
Fair enough.
What's up?
Ready to head on in.
Alright, let's go find our seats then.
Tickets in hand, Crow and I make our way to the doors that lead to the heart of the theater. Entering the large and imposing main hall, I feel the mood subtly shift to match the environment. People that were chatting loudly to each other outside are now whispering in hushed tones, respecting their surroundings but still eager for the performance to start. We manage to find our seats amid the mood lighting and get comfortable. Even with how you got these tickets, these spots aren't that bad. I was worried we'd be super uncomfortable.
Yeah, not gonna lie. I was expecting to be given crappy seats despite it all. You good from where you are, though? We can swap if my seat's better for you.
I'm good, thanks. How much longer do we have to wait till the show starts?
The list of showtimes outside says we got another 5 minutes.
As if on cue, he stretches his arms for a bit, then slumps down in his seat as far as he can without falling out.
So I'm just gonna sit back and get as comfy as I can.
Please don't tell me you're gonna sleep through the ballet.
Oh, come on, who do you take me for? I just know this is gonna be a lawn boy, so I might as well make sure my ass doesn't fall asleep.
A lawn boy.
You heard me.
Amid our chatting, I noticed more and more people walking to their seats. Not long after the last few people sat down, the lights begin to dim until only the stage can be seen in the darkness. The ballet was finally starting. Swan Lake, the timeless story about hope, devotion, despair, and the road in between. Prince Siegfried. Bound by responsibility, the story begins because of his unwillingness to let his future be decided for him. And Odette, the isolated queen of the swans who's unsure of him at first, but soon falls for the impulsive prince. Facing love, betrayal, and heartache, these two unintentionally change each other's lives forever as they strive for what they believe in. Although, even without any knowledge of the source material, I feel anyone would be in awe as they watch the ballet unfold. With the graceful dancing and the music that heightens the mood, I begin to understand the hype this show has had this past week. Especially with how skilled the lead dancers are. But as it goes on, I find my attention taken away from them to someone else. In the middle of the scene on the lake, my eyes are drawn towards one swan in particular. Blonde hair, looks to be the tallest dancer on stage, lowering herself to not draw attention. But she's not very good at it because I look right at her. I'm not sure why, but I can't help but keep my gaze on her instead of on Siegfried and Odette, who are supposed to be the stars of the scene. She dances just as well as other girls, is dressed the same. There's nothing about her that inherently stands out. But no matter how hard I try, my eyes continue to gravitate toward her, sparkling more and more. I can't explain it, and I don't know why. But something is drawing me to her. Of all the dancers to be captivated by, I wasn't expecting one of the regular swans, not the cygnets, not even Odette herself to be the one. In the corner of my vision, I see Crow giving me a confused look, and I turn away reflexively, trying to save face and enjoy the rest of the show. Ooh, she in love. As the scene on the lake comes to an end, I feel a sense of longing watching that one dancer lead the stage. But the ballet continues, and the rest of it is just as lovely as the beginning, if not more. The final scene comes to a close, and the theater breaks out into a thundering applause, breaking the silence the audience held during the performance. That was really good. I loved how eccentric the scene at the party was. What about you?
Yeah, right.
Crow gazes back at the stage, staring at the dancers as they bow for their curtain call. What's up?
The prima ballerina. Why did she change back into her O-doll costume? Didn't she just do the finale scene as Odette?
I look at the ballerina in question, and sure enough, she's changed out of her white Odette costume into the black Odile one. Huh, that is strange. I wonder if it has anything to do with... Before I'm able to finish my thought, a loud and boisterous voice I'm familiar with echoes throughout the main hall. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen! Appearing center stage like he's the star of the show, it's none other than Max himself. I am Maximilian Andrew Wilkinson,
co-owner of the Wilkinson Museum of Art and History. Some of you might be aware that I have a very special exhibit planned for our esteemed museum. Well, I'm here today to finally announce it. The show I and the Pavlova Ballet Company have been working so diligently to share with you all. Miss Volkov, if you please. On cue, the prima that Crow and I were staring at just moments before stands next to Max with proud poise. The exhibit will feature the history of the Pavlova Company, as well as famous ballets and pieces inspired by them in general. But the main attraction, the centerpiece to the entire show, is the pride of the Pavlova Ballet Company, the Black Swan. He motions toward the jewel hanging proudly around the prima's neck, as the audience murmurs and oohs in awe. This exhibit will be the first time in the company's history that the Black Swan will ever be available for the public to see up close. It is an honor for our humble museum to have the pleasure of displaying this beautiful ruby and the history it carries. The exhibit will formally open next week, but will have a special inaugural show on the evening of the 14th. I wish for you all to visit once it's open to the public. As if on cue, a small flock of reporters appear from the crowd, with security quickly catching up to them so they stay far enough from the stage.
Mr. Wilkinson, what of the thief Forget-Me-Not? That jewel perfectly fits their M.O.
Motioning security to pause for one moment, Max clears his throat and responds. Of course I'm aware of that damn thief. They've plagued our museum for over 3 years. And you know what I say to that coward? Try and steal it if you dare. This time I'll be the one to put you behind bars for good. Just you watch.
The reporters are thrown into a frantic frenzy with that line, as security struggles to push them out into the lobby as to not disturb the audience. After things have finally calmed down, Crow and I make our way back to the lobby, ready to go home after the night we had.
Man, the press doesn't know when to give up, huh?
I almost feel bad for security, having to wrangle them like sheep. Especially when some of them tried to break out of it to interview the ballerinas.
Well, despite all that hassle, it was a pretty good show, huh?
Yeah, it was. Thank you again for inviting me out here.
No problem, kid. Let's head back home now.
Can I actually make a quick stop before we leave? I turn my attention to the western hallway where the bathroom sign points.
Sure. Take your time. I'll go grab myself something to drink then. I'm feeling a little parched.
Alright, we'll meet up near the concession stand. On cue, the two of us go separate ways as I make my way toward the western hallway. I walk up and down the western hall, feverishly looking for wherever these bathrooms are supposed to be.
I can't believe the main bathrooms had such a huge lineup.
And where the heck are these other bathrooms that person talked about? I'm practically in the changing rooms at this rate. Amid my annoyed marching, I happen to hear a familiar voice arguing in a room next to me.
Do not worry, my plan is foolproof.
I still refuse.
What's going on in here?
I sneak up to where the voices are coming from, peeking into the room through the crack of the door. In there, I see Max with two older gentlemen, one I recognize as the man who played the role of Rothbard on stage just moments ago. And surprisingly, the chief of police himself, Inspector Harrison.
Try to reconsider. Absolutely not. I refuse to let my niece and the other dancers be put in peril due to this young man's desire for justice. Mr. Durov, I can assure you the dancers, your niece included, will have no harm done to them.
Right, they're Russian.
Because I'm not letting you go through with this ridiculous idea.
That might have been more French, sorry.
Abraham, please be reasonable.
Amid their arguing, Chef Inspector Harrison, the imposing mustachioed man who had been standing by idly this whole time, speaks up.
I think Mr. Wilkinson's idea is genius. With the help of the dancers, there's no way that thief will even lay a finger on them or the jewel. I swear my badge on it.
I lean against the wall, deep in thought at what I just heard. Seems like Maxie Boy's got some sort of plan to counter me, knowing I'll probably go after the jewel. Sounds like fun. I can't wait to. As I begin walking away from the door, not watching where I'm going, I accidentally bump into someone in the hall. Sorry, I didn't see. The person I bump into turns around, and I feel my heart skip a beat, realizing who it was. I don't know whether it was super lucky or super unlucky, but out of everyone, it ended up being the one dancer I couldn't keep my eyes off of just a moment ago. I'm sorry, I didn't see you there. I feel my face turn red as I try desperately to keep my composure. No, it was my fault. I wasn't watching where I was going, and... God, I'm so stupid. Learn to speak. She doesn't say a word and just stares at me for a moment before tilting her head in confusion. Sorry to ask, but do you work here? I thought only staff members could come back this far. I look around where we're standing and, sure enough, spot a sign nearby that reads, Staff and Performers Only, further down. Dang it. I scratch the back of my neck sheepishly as I turn to look back at her. I know this is gonna sound really unbelievable, but I got lost looking for the bathroom. The main one had a huge line, and one of the staff members told me there was another one down here, so... She lets out a small giggle in response. Isn't that the other bathroom right behind you? I turn around to look at where she's pointing, and right there I see a gender-neutral bathroom sign tucked in the corner. I'm so upset right now. I walked up and down this hall like 3 times. This building is quite confusing, isn't it? I got lost a couple of times myself. Her cute giggling makes me feel a little sheepish as I play with my ponytail before turning back to her. Thanks for the help. Sorry for, bumping into you and all. No worries. Our chatting is interrupted by the yelling in the room I just eavesdropped moments ago, getting louder and louder.
Absolutely not.
That sounds like... I think I need to go see what's going on in there. Take care.
You too.
And just like that, she walks off and knocks on the door, being let in by one of the men inside. I begin to make my way towards the bathrooms before stopping, my palms slapping my face faster than I imagined. I didn't ask her name. I'm so dumb. Dejected, I continue making my way to the bathroom, which turned into a mini walk of shame. A little while later, I make it back to the lobby, spotting Crow giving me a look from where he's seated.
Where the hell were you?
I got lost looking for the bathroom.
You? Getting lost? Who are you, and what have you done with the real Desiree?
Listen, I'm not in the theater as much as the museum, alright? A deep sigh escapes Crow, adjusting his shades as he gets up from his seat.
Well, come on. Let's go home then.
Okay. Oh, wait, there's something I need to tell you too.
Let's walk and talk then.
Okay, so while I was looking for the bathroom... The two of us finally exit the theater and make our way back to the little attic we call home. Ready and willing to start brainstorming our ideas for Forget-Me-Not's next heist.
On the night of the exhibit's launch, I shall steal the Black Swan. Forget-Me-Not.
Wilkinson Museum of Art and History, May 14th, 10:25 p.m. The night of Max's exhibit has finally arrived. As usual, due to the calling card I sent to the Wilkinsons, a large crowd grows at the foot of the museum, anxious for tonight. Soon enough, the usual formation is here. Fans in the crowd holding banners, flags, and whatnot. TV crews ready to try and deliver tonight's show to everyone watching from home. Everything down there is set for the night's festivities. Meanwhile, Crow and I go through our usual pre-heist sauna dance. Swapping in with security, creating a handful of escape routes, yada yada yada. Looking out towards the energetic and excited crowd of people down below, I pull out my walkie and call up Crow, who's sitting comfortably in the security room. Everything's good up here. How are things on your end?
Same down here, kid. Just setting up the blind spot cameras before switching over to our main attraction.
Excellent. I'm a little concerned, though. We still haven't seen what Max was planning for tonight yet.
No worries, kid. I'll holler into the walkie the minute I see anything weird.
He suddenly pauses, with frantic tapping on the security's room control panel following.
What the kid, look down below.
Confused, I look below into the main hall as Kroll told me to, and my eyes grow wide upon seeing what's going on down there. What? Looking down into the room below me, I'm greeted by the most unusual sight I've ever seen. Inside the hall, scattered about in several groups, were the dancers from the ballet, all dressed elegantly. But more bizarre than the sudden traffic of people in what normally should be an empty hall at this time of night was the curious accessory practically every dancer seemed to have hanging around their necks. Black swans? But why do they all have black swans? I can hear Crow clicking his tongue angrily on the other end.
Max must have prepared a bunch of fakes to throw us off. The bastard.
So this is what he was talking about when I eavesdropped on him. Not bad. Not bad at all.
This is not the time to be impressed.
Crow's angry voice shoots out from my walkie. A ringing left my ears as a result. Sorry. What are we gonna do about this, though?
I'm not sure. We should just survey the situation until we get a good grasp on what's going on.
Ending our conversation, I bring my attention back to the room down below, scanning the premises top to bottom until I spot Max himself, along with his father, Sir Wilkinson, and Chief Inspector Harrison.
I did not give clearance for this!
And a very angry Detective O'Malley.
Any decisions about what course to take against Forget-Me-Not are to go through me at all times. Being the lead investigator on this case isn't just a title.
Detective Aiden O'Malley, my favorite member of the force. Just as I said, they're the lead detective on my case, and have been since the day I started my thievery over 3 years ago. If there's anyone who knows how I work the best, it's them. They're my perfect rival.
Detective, detective, detective. See, this is exactly why we kept this plan from you. It would never have come to fruition had you been involved. Because this idea is idiotic. What were you thinking, putting all these dancers at risk? Oh, come now. It's been over 3 years and that thief hasn't hurt anyone. It'll be fine. You can't assume that. Try to use that damn head of yours from time to time.
Sometimes I wonder what the precinct would be like if everyone was as level-headed as our friendly detective. As the arguing below continues, I pull out my walkie to contact Crow on the other end. Do you want me to provoke him with a calling card? He might spill something if I do.
That might work. Alright, go chuck one at him and see what happens. Just be sure not to hit him this time, alright?
No promises. Getting the okay from Crow, I pull out a blank index card from my inner coat pocket and start writing a message to our opponent down below. Finishing it off with my iconic signature, I delicately open the window and fling it inside.
Detective, please, I will never...
Swiftly landing right by his feet, my impromptu calling card manages to spook him enough to make him jump out of the way.
What the hell? This thing could have hit me. And it's a damn shame it didn't.
Ignoring the detective's snide remark, Max leans over to see what appeared out of nowhere and almost hit him. It's from the thief. Everyone in the hall turns to Max upon hearing those words as he picks up the card from the floor. Let's see. To the bratty co-owner whose voice is more prominent than he is. Hey! Had to throw one in there, didn't you? Couldn't resist. Max clears his throat and continues reading, ignoring my introductory statement. I was aware you had something planned for tonight, but you truly shocked me by inviting the entire ballet to take part in tonight's affair. I assume having them all adorned with the black swan has some sort of meaning, considering your love of games. So it is only fair that the one to orchestrate this should explain it. I'd appreciate it if you could do just that. Signed, Forget-Me-Not. Upon reading my calling card in full, he waves it around with a smug look on his face. Did you all hear that? The thief has finally managed to be outdone. My, what an honor it is to be the reason behind such a feat. Instead of boasting, how's about you finally explain what's going on tonight? I'm also tired of being kept in the dark. Oh, fine. It's only fair. After handing my card over to the detective, Max loudly clears his throat, projecting his voice across the room for everyone to hear. Our dear Forget-Me-Not, wherever you are at the moment, I have a little game prepared for you, just as you said. And it is as follows. As you may have already guessed, practically every dancer in this hall has been given a black swan to wear. Naturally, only one of these is the real one. If you manage to figure out which lovely dancer has the real jewel, then I concede defeat for tonight. But rest assured, I've made sure that you will never... How would you put it? Find the Odette among the Odiles. He finishes off his declaration with a loud, boastful laugh that echoes around the main hall. So, that's the game you want to play, huh? Well, fine then. I do love a good mystery. I pull out another index card and quickly scribble my response to his challenge, checking it down below like before. It lands close to Max again, though not spooking him this time, who picks it up and quickly reads it to himself. I see. Hey, wait a moment. Clearly too annoyed to care at this point, Detective O'Malley swipes the card out of Max's hand and reads it aloud for everyone to hear. Very well, I accept your challenge. Although you're incorrect in the language you chose for tonight's affair, considering the aforementioned jewel that is my target for tonight, it's only fair to say that I will be searching for the Odile among the Odettes. Signed, Forget-Me-Not. Detective O'Malley delicately tucks the card into their front pocket, then turns to address the officers scattered around the hall. Listen up. You all heard the thief's declaration, and we're going to make sure it doesn't come to fruition. I want an officer next to each group of dancers immediately. Understood? Sir, yes, sir. Having received their orders, officers begin to disperse themselves around the room, making sure to be a good distance from each group of dancers. You didn't have to push me. And you. You and your father are going to be under the direct supervision of myself and Inspector Harrison. Any objections, Maximilian? No, sir. Not at all, sir. Good. That's our detective. The walkie at my hip beeps, with Crow's exasperated voice on the other end. What have you gotten us into this time, kid? Hey, not my fault Maxie wanted to play a game tonight. I'm just giving him what he wants. We'll still come out on top. Even without being next to him, I can still tell Crow is just shaking his head at me. I swear, you become more eccentric with each heist we do. But fine, let's play this game of his. I knew you'd come around. Let's work together so we can wipe that smug look off his face. I look back down towards the hall, ready to start playing Max's little game of the night. I hear the walkie at my hip beep and answer it while scanning the area. One quick thing before you start, kiddo.
See all the security guards that are standing next to the groups of dancers? Sure do. A little birdie let me in on what frequency they're using for their mics and earpieces, so we can use them to eavesdrop on our guests down below. I also got my hands on a list with any notable people and all the dancers that were given jewels. So, not all the dancers were given jewels? Correct. Guess Max didn't want to spend too much on this little game of his. Makes it a bit easier for me, though. Thanks, Krell. No problemo, kid. I have some info on the jewel that might help you along, so call me when you want to hear it. If you're ever feeling stuck, I'll give you some pointers.
Got it. I look around the room until I spot a group of dancers off by themselves near the farthest wall. Matching their faces to a list of names, I learn that the group holds Brianna Riddell, Jacob Lambert, Anne-Marie Fabrun, and Tia Murdoch, respectively. Hey, Brianna, what have you been looking at on that phone of yours for so long? Been scrolling through Squeaker to learn more about the thief of ours. Didn't expect them to be this popular, though. The tag's been trending for the past 2 hours. Let me see. Miss Fabron leans past Mr. Lambert, trying to get a better look at Miss Riddell's social media feed. Dang, look at all these squeaks! A lot of people must be head over heels for that thief. Some of these are pretty funny, too. Like, I wish I was in there. FMN, if you read this, I'm your biggest fan. Oh, and this one. OMG, do you think they'll have the princess carry one of the dancers out? Ooh, woo, 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 woo. How did you do that with your... You know what, never mind. But that's impressive. Guess they're more than just some glorified magician.
I feel offended by that remark. Miss Riddell stuffs her phone back into her purse, replacing her constant scrolling with an annoyed tapping of her right heel. I opened up Squeaker to distract myself from this, but it's just making me more stressed. I wish we knew who had the dang jewel, but I have to keep it a secret from everyone. I can kinda understand why. Trick your enemy and all that. Though I imagine whoever has it is even more stressed than you are, Bree. Miss Murdoch places her hand on her chin, staring at her colleague in a comical manner. Unless Brianna's the one that has it, hence her being so nervous. Oh, shut up, Tia. What are you, the next Holmes? They all just laugh it off, making the mood upbeat once more. You know, even though Tia was kidding, I could believe you had the real deal, Bree. Huh? Why? You're one of the most trustworthy members of the company, not to mention just in general. Everyone can rely on you easily, and you're nice to boot. I can attest to that. You, Irina, Adriana, and Alex are the most trustworthy out of all of us. Write that down. If I had to choose who had the jewel, it'd be you or them. What? In the midst of Mr. Lambert and Miss Fabrun's flattery, Miss Murdoch lets out a laugh at seeing her friend's face turn bright red. Come on, you two. You're gonna make Brianna faint with all this. Look at her. She's turning into a beetroot. Tia, shut up. The group playfully laughs together, seeing Miss Riddell so embarrassed. Meanwhile, I'm writing down the info I've gleaned from their conversation. It might seem minor, but trustworthiness could be a good thing to consider in finding out who was given the real jewel. Gotta consider everything after all. Right in the middle of the hall is a trio of dancers chatting amongst themselves. In their group, I learn they are Amelia Gray, Adriana Hill, and Alex Hayes, respectively. Hey, do you think that Max guy would let me keep this? If it was one of the fakes, I mean. You know these are supposed to be fakes of that jewel? I don't mean with the swan, I just mean the jewel itself. Even if it isn't the genuine one, it's still so pretty to look at. I wonder how they managed to get so many like it. Miss Hayes, who's been silent this whole conversation, looks at her own and Miss Gray's jewels with intrigue. They probably use garnets for the fake jewels.
I read online that they're often used to impersonate rubies, since they're the closest in color. Makes sense, though I'm surprised you studied up on that. Did you do that because of the heist? Yeah, I wanted to learn about how fake jewels are made and what that Max guy might come up with. You know, sometimes they use colored glass instead as fakes. It's honestly kind of a cool read. Now you piqued my interest. Share some with me when we're back at the hotel later. While Miss Hill and Miss Hayes chat with each other, I can see Miss Gray looking fondly at her jewel. As she looks back up to rejoin the conversation, she tilts her head in confusion while looking at her fellow dancers. Hey, Tree, I think your jewel's a little dirty. Miss Hill abruptly stops talking to look at her own jewel in confusion. Is it? I haven't touched it at all, though. Though yours does look brighter than mine. Mine too. That's weird. Miss Hayes takes the time to look around the room, staring at her fellow dancers and the jewels hanging proudly around their necks. From what I can see, there's only 3 of us that have jewels that bright. Magdalena, Irina, and you, Em. You all have the brightest jewels. Wait, so does that mean I could have the real one? Maybe. If not, then you got one of the prettier fakes at least. Oh man, I feel really conflicted now. Only a handful of the jewels are bright. That means they're the most likely candidates of being the real deal. Poor Miss Gray, though. Part of me hopes she doesn't have the real one now. But she does. Because... love interest. I turn my attention to the quartet of dancers near the west wall of the exhibit room. And in that little posse, I immediately recognize the young couple as the lead dancers of ballet. Skimming through the list of names, I learn that they are Magdalena Volkov and Damian Petrov. Chatting away with the lead stars are Anya Merkovich, the shortest one, and Natalia Ross, who is standing taller than the rest of their group. Oh wait, that's the love interest, I think. Hey Magda, a little birdie told me you know who has the real jewel. What? No way, you do? Someone who was told to keep quiet, you sure are running your mouth. Ouch! Miss Volkov is lining up to her name, I see. Oh, shush, Nat. But fine, I do know. The director convinced Mr. Wilkinson to let me pick who has the jewel. Oh, interesting. That makes sense. It is your turn to wear it after all. So, any hints as to who has it? Absolutely not. You're the most protective of that jewel out of anyone in the company. If you're not the one holding it, then who is? Come on, Magda. Inquisitive minds want to know. If I give you a hint, will you stop bugging me about this? Maybe? Fine. I gave it to someone who stands out so I could see them from here. Miss Volkov turns her head away in a huff. And I'm not saying any more. Very interesting. But how does anyone stand out? We're all dressed similar-ish. I'm so confused. Straining her brow, Miss Merkovich starts fiddling with the jewel hanging around her neck. Miss Volkov, on the other hand, snaps at her the moment she sees this. Anya, would you quit doing that? Startled, Miss Merkovich quickly takes her hand off the jewel and hides it sheepishly behind her back. Sorry. I swear, no matter what it is, you always have to fiddle with something. You need to treat your jewelry carefully, fake or not. You never change, do you, Anya? So, Anya Merkovich has a tendency to fiddle with things. I'll write that down for later. I look back down towards Max and his group, hoping to see if he'll let anything slip. In their little group, I can see 2 different conversations going on at the moment. Detective O'Malley dealing with Max, and the Chief talking to Sir Wilkinson. Which conversation should I eavesdrop? Max. I look over to our friendly detective, who's currently having to deal with Max going on about his genius plot. And while it was difficult to persuade Mr. Durov, it was worth it in the end. Even you can agree that the thief won't have their way so easily this time. But as Max drones on, Detective O'Malley isn't paying them any mind, simply surveying the surroundings and keeping as many tabs on the floor as they can. Then they turn back to Max. Since this is your idea, I imagine you know who has the jewel. Of course I do. Who do you think I am, Detective? With the jewel's current location, I can keep an eye on it quite easily from where we are. Where he is, huh? It's probably somewhere close by then. You can keep an eye on it, huh? The detective simply stares, deep in thought and eyeing him up and down before responding. Show me your pockets. Huh? Oh, do you assume I have the jewel on me? How absurd. I would never stoop to something as low as making this whole game only to have it on me. If you're so innocent, then you won't mind if I conduct a search to make sure. I refuse. Why, if you so much as look in my coat pockets, I'll... Yes, Detective, right away, Detective. Without any hesitation, Detective O'Malley starts their formal search, checking every pocket and patting down areas he could have hidden the jewel as thoroughly as they are able to at the moment. At the end of it all, however, they turn out empty-handed, left with just an angry Max. See, I told you. I don't have the jewel. Now apologize. For doing my job. For not trusting me. Am I really that untrustworthy? No comment. Clearly offended by the detective's bluntness, Max turns away, refusing to speak with them anymore. The detective pays no mind as they return to scanning the room top to bottom from their current location. I look back down towards Max and his group, to see if he'll let anything slip. The older gentlemen are a stark contrast to the younger duo next to them, as the two of them joyfully trade quips with one another. And I thought for sure the old man was about to pop a left hook right in his face. What a tale. Amid their chatter, Sir Wilkinson looks around the hall, eyeing all the jewels hanging around the dancers' necks with intrigue. You know, this is the first time Max has done something like this. I'm quite impressed with the hard work he put in to get all this ready. Oh, certainly. We worked together with the ballet company for ages to make sure everything was perfect. You wouldn't believe the details that went into making all the fakes. Oh, I can only imagine. Although, I'm more impressed he managed to convince the director to take part in this. Knowing full well how much that jewel means to the company. Is there some sort of agreement that was made while making the arrangements? Nothing can get past you, sir. But yes, a few conditions were made by the director that had to be followed for this whole plan to exist. He wanted to make sure that someone who knows the worth of the jewel handled it, so no one in the force has the jewel. Does this include yourself, Inspector? Naturally. I see, what perfect sense. Older gentlemen continued to chortle on as I pull out my phone to jot this new intel down. No one in the police force has it, huh? Makes sense. You wouldn't want someone you don't know handling something that important. Oh, is that the girl? There's too many blonde people. Off in the corner of the hall, I spot two figures chatting on their lonesome. Older gentleman I eavesdropped before, who was against this idea, and... It's that dancer from before! The really pretty one! I look through the list of names Crow gave me until I spot her in the list. Irina Lebedev. Irina, huh? I finally know her name. I just wish it was from actually asking her, though. Amid my giggling, I noticed the jewel hanging around her neck, snapping back into reality. Right. the heist. Focusing my attention back to the task at hand, I listen in on the conversation she and the man next to her are having. Try not to look so worried.
How can I not, Inka? This whole situation is just simply absurd. I can't believe you and the other dancers are being put through this.
You know what the director's like when his mind's set. He and Mr. Wilkinson meshed well.
Unfortunately so.
Mr. Durov sighs before giving a worried glance to the jewel hanging proudly on Miss Lebedev's neck.
I wasn't even allowed to know who has the real jewel. All I can hope for now is that security will do its job, and we can go back to the hotel in peace.
As Miss Lebedev tries to ease Mr. Durov's worries, I notice that, compared to everyone else, she's quite tall. Even without focusing, I can pick her out from the rest because of her height, and without using my binoculars, too. I knew she was tall when I bumped into her earlier, but it's even more obvious when she's dressed in civilian wear. Okay, so he's standing here. He can't see them, correct? I want to say it's this girl. Maximilian doesn't. Brianna, Arena, Magda, Amelia stands out in some way.
What's up, kid? What do you want help with?
The jewel's appearance? Can you tell me what the real jewel looks like?
Sure thing.
I pull up the reference image Crow sent me as he begins to explain. The Black Swan's a genuine ruby, so it's a deep, bright red in color. Maximilian most likely got garnets to act as fake ones, so the difference will be harder to spot from where you are. How fitting! I bet they tried to make it fit perfectly with the Odile costume. What about the swan on the outside?
That little guy holding our prize is made of sterling silver. Apparently a renowned jeweler was commissioned to make it, as it needed to be absolutely perfect.
Sterling silver, huh? I imagine that thing needs to be cleaned a lot. Talk about high maintenance.
Yeah, I don't want to think about it.
That's all the info on how it looks. Anything else? History. Could you tell me about the jewel's history? Something this special has gotta have some kind of story behind it.
Sure does, though it's a bit depressing.
Depressing?
Get comfy. This one's a doozy.
Crow soon started to explain in detail. In the company's infancy, there was a certain prima ballerina. She was ecstatic, having just been given the honor of being the prima right before the company's upcoming production of Swan Lake. But it wasn't the Odette role she was so excited about, but the short role of Odile instead. The Black Swan, the fake Odette, that the evil Rothbart uses to trick Prince Siegfried near the end of the story. This was her favorite scene in the whole ballet. In her words, she described the Black Swan as confident and beautiful, something she wished to be. Overjoyed, she practiced tirelessly day in and out, hoping to perfect her role for her debut performance. As a personal gift for reaching the status of prima ballerina, she gathered all her money to commission a jewel for herself. The very jewel we're after, the Black Swan, which she nicknamed Odile. The night of the ballet came, and everyone was ready to make this production the most memorable one yet. But, right in the middle of her beloved Odile performance, she fainted on stage. She had overworked herself heavily, and passed away in the hospital a day later. Man, you weren't kidding about it being depressing. But if it was something she made for herself, then how come it was worn at the show?
That's because of the director at the time. Heartbroken by what happened, he made it so that every prima ballerina after would wear the Black Swan while playing the role of Odile, hoping to keep her memory alive and honor it as well.
That's really sweet. And yet, Maxie here is using it to toy with me. Makes me want to punch him again. Down, kid. We got a job to do. Fair enough. How old's the Black Swan, anyways? If it was made that long ago, it must be pretty old. The jewel itself is about 25 years old, and it's been taken care of incredibly well in those years. But considering the materials and its history, it needs to be handled with care. Alright. Anything else, kid? That's all I need. Thanks, Crow. No problemo, kid. Good luck. The deuce. What was your name? Not you. Not you. No. Who's the blonde? Who's this girl? Anya? Brianna, deep bright red, sterling silver, at least 25 years old, handled with care. Someone who stands out. He can see it from where he is. Deep bright red. Let's see. She said hers was brighter, right? Okay, your jewel's a little dirty. I haven't touched it. Yours is brighter than hers. And hers. That bright. Magdalena, Rena, and you. It can't be Irina, because Max can't see her. And I guess there's a lot of blonde girls, so it can't be this girl? Right, because there's... If there's a lot, if there's a lot of blonde people, it would have to be the dark-haired girl, right? And she knows who has it. I think someone mentioned it was her turn to even have it, so... I'm gonna go with Magdalena. Give it to someone who stands out so I can see them from here. She can see them, so... Shoot. If he can see it and she can see it... Oh, man. And, like, hers is really bright, so is that how she stands out? What's her name? Amelia? I'm gonna go with Amelia. Oops. I think I have enough information to make a deduction. Once I look over my information again thoroughly, I can pick who I think has the jewel from the list on my phone. Let's give it a shot. Yes. No. Well. Okay, then Magdalena. No. It can't be Irina. They can't see her. Hold on. Shoot. Okay, let's load this. Pretend that I'm getting it right. First shot. He can't see her though. She can see her, but he can't. I look over the information I obtained just to be sure of my line of thinking. Reading through it again, a huge smirk appears on my face, my deductions starting to make sense. So, that's how it is. After chuckling to myself, I pull out my walkie to contact Crow, who's been waiting for my signal on the other end. I figured it out. Get ready for the next stage. On it. Good luck down there, kid. After he hangs up, I hop into position with a little stretch. Let's finally get this show started. See, Detective, I told you. We're at the announced time, and look, nothing. That thief wasn't able to figure out my puzzle, so I win. This is... The sudden darkness causes all in attendance to stop their conversations, looking at each other with worry in their eyes. While the dancers whisper to each other, unfamiliar with the situation, everyone else immediately springs into action. It's a thief. All officers, don't move a muscle from your positions. Yes, sir. Where are you going to show up this time, thief? Giving the detective a little tap on their shoulder, their face turns pale, realizing where I am. Why, right here, of course, Detective. My apologies for the delay, my dear guests in and outside the museum. Welcome to my show tonight. Unable to hold in their excitement, the crowd outside the museum screams in joy at my long-awaited arrival. Forget me not! Forget me not! As per usual, the mood outside is a stark contrast to the mood within the museum itself. I turn to the groups of dancers behind me, all whispering nervously to each other as I give them a graceful bow. It's a pleasure to finally make your acquaintance, dancers of the Pavlova Ballet Company. Hold it right there, thief. I straighten back up and stare Detective O'Malley straight in the eyes. A good evening to you as well, Detective. So, you've finally shown up. I knew this distraction wouldn't keep you at bay forever. You know me so well, Detective. In contrast to Detective O'Malley's determination, Maximilian simply stares at me, his face having gone pale. You being here right now? That can't mean what I think it means, does it? That I solved your little puzzle? Why, yes, it does. I believe you said it yourself. If you manage to figure out which lovely dancer has the real jewel, then I concede defeat for tonight. Was that not what you said earlier, Maxie boy? Maxie boy? Max starts sweating bullets at my jabbing remarks. Meanwhile, I spot Detective O'Malley and a handful of officers trying to hold in their chuckling at my playful nicknaming. Even if I did say that, do you really think I'm just going to let you take the jewel? Security! In the corners of my vision, on cue at Max's statement, I see the numerous officers standing their ground next to their assigned groups of dancers. Instead of being intimidated, however, I can't help but let out a small laugh.
And what are you laughing at this time? You can't possibly be thinking about succeeding, are you?
You seem quite confident, Detective.
We simply learned from your little trick last time, so both the breaker and any other light sources have been secured. Even then, the jewel's on a person this time.
Which makes it impossible to take the jewel off of them in a timely manner is what you're saying, correct?
You're right. This is so foreign to me. I don't know if I'll do it.
I comically tug at my collar, gazing around the room with a sad look on my face.
It's so stuffy in here, too. Must be because of all the people.
Let's fix that, shall we?
Wait, what are you...
Before Detective O'Malley can react, I pull out a remote from my pocket and push it. Soon after, the fans and vents in the room start blowing harder, creating a strong wind that circles the room. And also reveals...
What is this? Feathers?
The whole room becomes engulfed with countless feathers, detaching themselves from their hiding spots on the walls. Amidst the chaos of the sudden swarm, I start running over to my target, but with my walkie in one hand giving orders to Crow.
Stage 2 is go! On it.
Stuffing my walkie back into my pocket, I make it to my target and quickly ring one of my arms around her waist.
What are you?
I suggest you hang on tight. As the officers notice me making my move, I pull out my grappling hook and aim it at the ceiling above me. Zipping at top speed back up to the roof, I spot the detective pushing through the feathers to the nearest employee stairwell.
Forget me not!
Escaping the chaos in the exhibit hall, I make it to the quiet rooftops away from the museum with Miss Lebedev in my arms. As I try to put my grappling hook away, my grip on her hip slips, causing her to fall out of my arms.
Watch out!
I quickly catch her, wrapping both arms around her back as she instinctively wraps hers around my shoulders for stability.
Are you alright?
I'm fine. Our eyes lock for a brief moment, the glow of the city behind us barely illuminating our faces, as I quickly scramble to get her back on our feet.
I'm so sorry about that. You're not hurt or anything, are you? The ride-up didn't cause any damage or anything.
But Miss Lebedev doesn't give a response. She simply stares at me with a confused look on her face. And then the most bizarre thing greets me afterwards. She lets out a cute laugh, the first I've ever heard like it. I was expecting her to yell, or perhaps fight back, but instead she just laughs.
What's so funny?
You're so different than what I imagined. The way Mr. Wilkinson went on, I figured you were simply abhorrent. I fight off the part of me that wants to curl up into an embarrassed ball at seeing my crush laughing so adorably to give her a response.
Oh, please. Max doesn't know a thing about me.
If you really wanted to know what I'm like, you're much better off asking Detective O'Malley. They practically know me like the back of their hand. I see. As much as I want to continue this idle chatter, I remember my task at hand and clear my throat to address Miss Lebedev directly. Miss Lebedev, I assume you realize why I whisked you out of the exhibit hall? So, let me be blunt. You hold the real black swan, don't you? She delicately holds the jewel in her hands, staring at it for a brief moment before looking back at me with firm resolve. I suppose there's no point in hiding it. You're correct, I do. But how did you figure it out? It's quite simple, actually. I overheard Miss Volkov and Max both state that they could easily keep an eye on the jewel from where they were. You're the tallest one of your peers down below, making you stand out among the others even in formal wear. Plus, the jewel you hold is one of the brightest out of all of them, a feature that's reflective of the jewel's authenticity. I can see the surprised look that's appeared on her face as she takes it all in. But isn't that too little information to make a conclusion out of? Oh, of course, but that's why there's more. How delicately you handle your jewel comparatively, as well as remarks from your peers that you're considered one of Miss Volkov's most trusted companions. The former facts could be considered coincidence, but combined with the latter, it points at you being the true holder of the jewel. Does that help shed some light on my reasoning? Miss Lebedev blinks at me, stunned silent at my deduction before finally responding. Wow, you're sounding more like a detective than a thief, if I may be honest. Why, thank you. But... She pauses, turning away to think to herself for a moment before looking back at me. What will you do now? Take the jewel from me? You've already taken me this far. I'm caught off guard by her blunt yet honest question. After taking some time to think it over, I look back at her with a soft smile. I don't normally do this, but keep it. Huh? You heard me. I've already proven myself to the detective, and put on a wonderful show for my audience. I have no more need for the jewel. Besides... I pause for a brief moment, thinking about what I should say in the moment. Try to say something cool. The jewel suits a beautiful swan such as yourself perfectly. My hand flies up to slap my face faster than it ever has, immediately regretting my attempt at flirting. Ah, that was the dumbest thing I've ever said in my life. You're quite adorable for being a charming thief. I can feel my face turning the brightest red, barely unable to process the kind words she said about me. Off in the distance behind us, I can hear a familiar voice interrupting our heartwarming moment. Forget-me-not! Stop where you are and unhand Miss Lebedev. They never fail to catch up to me, huh? Turning back around to my guest, I give her a graceful bow and a wink. I hope you have a good night, Miss Lebedev. Farewell. Before our friendly detective can catch up to me, I start making my escape further down the line of rooftops to reconvene with my partner, who is waiting patiently for me. What took you so long? Hey, where's the jewel? I'll explain back home. For now, let's book it before the detective catches up. Got it. Let's jam. The two of us climb down from the rooftops and hop onto our getaway vehicle, ready to take the long way back to the attic to lose any cops on our tail. All the while, I can't help gazing back from time to time, thinking about the moment I shared with the woman that captured my eyes and my thoughts during the ballet. Miss Lebedev! As I watch Forget-Me-Not vanish into the night, I hear the concerned voice of Detective O'Malley coming from behind me. Okay, so it's her point of view now. So I guess this is where chapter 2 starts. So, oops. Okay, I'm gonna... Alright, okay, chapter 2, Irina. So I'm gonna end this here. I'll continue on with the second chapter later. So far, I really love the characters. Desiree here, especially. She's a dork, but she tries to be cool. So initially, when I found out her name was Desiree, I was kind of wary about playing because I have this one ex named Desiree, and it was a bit of a mess. So I don't really like seeing the name Desiree, but this game kind of helped me reassociate the name, so I don't really have that much of a problem with it. You know, it's not triggering exactly. I still like tense up a little, like, oh god, her name, but you know. But yeah, that was chapter 1, and I hope you guys enjoyed this. And I'll see you next time with more Forget Me Not. Farewell!